Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to GRDC. Good to be back once more. My name is Ben Sapsford, aka Sappytron. Tonight, we're taking you to Mount Panorama. We're heading to Bathurst for quite an interesting round indeed. Now, before we get into things good and proper, a couple of things to note. One, it is the penultimate round of the season. And that means a few things. It means that we're wrapping up on time in terms of points for the racers to be able to retrieve some positions here in the championship. And also, this is where the drivers might start to get a little bit antsy about their positions relative to the rest of the field. Remember, the top three do get prizes. They do get actual trophies for the winner, and second and third, they do get a genuine trophy. So there is pride and prize on the line. And we are, of course, going to be heading to Mount Panorama with the Super V8s. V8 supercars, 600 horsepower with no nanny and no tools to calm those beasts down. These are quite the sets of machinery, I've got to say. We've had the practice session, and we have got plenty of racing up ahead. Let us know, of course, what you are looking forward to, who you're looking forward to out on track tonight. But this is going to be quite an exciting one. And I have got quite a few predictions for you all. First off, let's talk standings. We have Daniel Gilligan with 181 points. 3 second-place finishes on the trot. Rounds 2, 3, and 4. It's worth noting that he did get a 6 points increase following an error in round 3. So previous reporting was slightly incorrect. He did, in fact, get 3 second-place finishes. And he is 10 points ahead of Dan Moffat, who has got 171. Of course, has 2 podiums to their names. First place in the Uno round. And then last time out as well with the DPIs came 3rd place. You have got also the likes of Cormac Molloy, now renaming to We Sir. But 136 points, so a little bit further adrift of the top 2. But still plenty of performance on the table and plenty of chances to get a bit further up in that points tally. Followed by Craig Starkey, who unfortunately is not racing with us tonight. And then you get to the likes of Paul Sims. And unfortunately another racing driver we're not going to see. Richard Gasson, Simon Eade, Yari Habordin, Missouri. And rounding out the top 10 is going to be Rob Larby. Now we only have 10 drivers out here tonight. Now this is for a variety of reasons, as the racers are going to be away for this round for a variety of reasons. Some of it is to do with personal commitments. I believe that some drivers, this does conflict with their work schedule, unfortunately, this evening, so they will not be able to make it. So that's Derek Neve out of the equation, with Sims on holiday, Barham being away as well. And then we have some drivers, so Gasson and Larby are unfortunately feeling ill, not 100%, so they're going to be taking the round out to recover. We wish them nothing but the best, as always. But we're just rounding out the practice session. We have got ourselves 2 races here tonight, so it's going to be a double header, technically. And with a double header means plenty of points in the books. Plenty of points on the docket. And I have got quite a good feeling about some drivers. They're going to have a real opportunity to get a bit of a jump on their competitors, especially those who have not been able to join us tonight. We're just a few minutes away from first quali, and then we'll have our first race. As you can see right now, Aid, Gilligan, who are on board with Moffat, Sir Cook, Wallace, Finlayson, Thompson, Gorey, and Murray. Those make up your 10 drivers. And, of course, that is going to include the safety car as well. Will we see it out there? Who knows? It has made a regular appearance at least once every race, but I'm not so sure about this time. Considering the unique format we're running for the race itself, I'd be very surprised. 2 20-minute races. But the drivers are just getting that final practicing, getting those final laps. Big areas to note. You are going to see maybe a bit of battling down the Conrod Straight, which we're on board with Moffat now for. Then heading down into the chase, confirming some of these corners. Or some of these overtakes. You have also got, coming out of turn 1, and you start to ascend through Quarry Bend into turn 2 and beyond up the hill. You might see a couple of overtakes there, and if we get a little bit of daring do, we might see some drivers go for a bit of an attack just before they get to... So here's another opportunity, but we'll also see maybe a little bit of a chase and a bit of an attack coming into Skyline. As we can see, Gilligan now making his way through McPhillamy Park. And down into probably the most technical section of the track. You can already see he's getting the tail out a little bit. Keeping that rear axle in check just about. Some call it Bogan Christmas. Down here we call it the tightest racing track to go at full throttle in the calendar. To see a qualifying lap on here at full tilt is going to be nothing short of spectacular. We already know some of these drivers have got some serious pace on tap, and we'll want to see that in full force. But final minute, wrapping up here in practice. And time is of the essence to get those final runs in before qualifying officially starts. And with a 2-minute lap on average, this is going to mean drivers are going to have about 3 runs to get a good time on the boards. So get a banker lap, conserve a little bit more, and then go for your main lap with the real push. Not being afraid to get the elbows out a little bit too much. A couple of cars are now making their way out, as well as Murray. Heading down the Comrade Straight. Pushing the limits of that Super V8. And we're going to see plenty of racing. Drivers are going to be bringing their A game, that's no doubt. Our practice officially being complete. Just going to be finishing up laps. So that's going to be heading in to the pit lane. Moffat committing to his lap as he crosses up to the line. 205.103. And then just a couple more races out on this course. Gilligan is still out on a run. Finlayson now coming out for a sailboat. We'll see him come down. I've got to say, very excited for qualifying, if nothing else. Because that's where you really see the fireworks. There is so little room for error on this course. The drivers are going to have to really push those cars, but without any assistance to help them keep that 630 horsepower under control, you are going to have a little bit of a shaky moment or two as you commit fully to a lap. So we've got a Beyblade impression in the background, as Gilligan is going to be last, or second to the last one, technically, as we have a couple more cars going through. There you go, that's Gilligan completing. And as we get a beautiful corrugated steel background, there is your practice times and your initial bar for this session. So with a very solid Sector 1 and Sector 3 in particular, Simon A is going to be taking top of practice. Though not to be outdone, Gilligan really put their foot down in Sector 2. Best times, though, are going to be going to Gilligan for Sector 1 and Sector 2. And then Sector 3 is going to be in Eads' pocket, with Danny Moffat going very close to in at least some of the sectors. Well, a few tenths, but not quite enough to make that high impact that they would maybe have liked. Racers are going to be now sort of teeing themselves up, ready to go, as we have Weiser, Richard Cook, Paul Wallace, Ray Finlayson, Stuart Thompson, Poire, and Liam Murray all making their way through. 2-minute 13, and that is going to be the bottom end of timings. Now, 10 minutes ago, qualifying is in full motion, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be quite a spicy run indeed. First one out, it's going to be Cook. It's going to be an early sunrise for this first qualifying session, which means track temps maybe not getting up to that ideal surface. Ambients are going to make the cooling a little bit easier, however. Cook already struggling a little bit with getting those rubbers to ignite. Getting them in that ideal operating window is of utmost importance, and you can see how aggressive they're running that car through some of these corners to try and work the car. Get it really ready to go. Key things here, you've got to have a stable platform, or at least as stable of a platform as you can, given that there is so much undulation on this track. There is plenty of bumps, twists, turns, inclines, declines, and throughout all of that, you've got to maintain your contact patch to the road, while not bottoming out your car either, scraping that splitter, and potentially damaging your bodywork. That is going to play havoc with your car's setup and time. That's the last position you want to be in. You're going to be seeing some quality hot laps out here right now, as the racers are going to be really going for it. First warm-up laps now being completed from the field. Cook has got quite a bit of space to himself, and this is going to mean just one thing. Fortunately, looks like he's overcooked it just a little. Who else is out on that track? Frustrating there for Cook. I did not expect that. I thought he was really teeing himself up for a good run, but apparently not. It is going to be a bit of a rough wake-up call for Cook there, and we've got a couple of cars who are now pushing up. We'll just check around and see what's going on. Murray is starting himself up. Gilligan is going to be the car that is furthest ahead and is going to be on the hunt for that first time, that elusive first time on the board. Set the stage, set the tone for your competitors. Only 6.5 minutes left already. The drivers are certainly going to be feeling that pressure. If they mess up here, they are going to be in some serious trouble. They're keeping it nice and planted through McPhillamy. Skyline S's Dipper next. There's going to be a hefty twist and turn as we're on board right now with Gilligan, current championship leader. Be throwing that car deep into the apexes. Nicely handled, nicely done. A big decline before you go into Forest. Get on the throttle as early as you can. A little bit of a skate of the rear axle. That's not going to deter him as we head now down through Conrod. Easily going to be pushing over 200, 250 Ks. Done a fine job this lap. Is it going to be enough to hold your own at the top end? Remember, practice times were ranging around the 204s on average. So a good early time here might put your opponents on edge. Going through final corner. Murray's now. A little bit of a wider arc. Gets on the throttle as soon as he can. It's a 2:05.3, first time out on the boards. As many more going to be making their way through. Richard Cook only going to be making a 2:07.7 in the end. Poirier now, as we saw, is going to be 6.726. That's a second down. Or second ahead from Cook. Simon Aid is going to be within a couple of tenths, however, and Moffat is going to be 0.03 of a second. Poirier only managing a 2:08, as more cars are going to be firing themselves through this course. Thompson is a 7.760, 8 milliseconds away from Cook right now. First wave of times looking very promising. Finlayson is going to be rounding out through Murray's right now. And what is he going to be able to get on that book? It's going to be a 2:08.9. Best he can do for the moment. As we see Murray back scraping the wall a little bit. Not looking ideal for him right there. Bit of diciness. Struggling to keep that car contained, I think. Maybe being a bit on the more careful side, which will get you through the race, but it won't get you through it quickly. The way Murray remains committed. Pushes on. As he comes over the crest. You see the determination in spite of sometimes that wobble we saw on track just moments ago. Okay, being very gentle with the car. One might even say too gentle. It doesn't really look like he's pushing it to the best of his ability. Trying to keep the car gripped up and on the gentler side of the surface. It's 2:17. It is going to mean he's got time on the board, though, which is the most important thing. Wallace remains in the pits throughout this whole time, which does spell a little bit of concern. Maybe there is a wider strategy game at play, but I've yet to see it. If that is the plan. Gilligan going to be coming around once again, and is going to be going even faster. A 4.364, a new benchmark, as Richard Cook is finally going to get a time representative of his pace. It's a 2:04.876. Next few cars now going to be making their way through. It's going to be a bit of a toss-up as to who's going to take those top honours. Simon Aid is going to get very close once again. 2:04.4, dead. It's going to be 36 milliseconds shy of Gilligan, but quite an impressive time to be putting on those boards. Moffat just came through with a 5.373. And we have a few more racers now making their way up. Now, Finlayson needs to improve on that 2:08 if he wants to make some gains. The rest of the field is averaging out about those 2:05 marks. Solid improvement, 2:06.7. It's going to be enough for 7th. But not enough to get just into that fighting zone, that middle ground. Many more racers are now committed and going for it out of here. Gilligan is going to be going out after making a brief excursion into the pits. Trying to get themselves up optimally. Going for that crucial last run. Many more cars are now looping their way round. Looks like we have got a bit of an issue, as that was going to be Thompson heading into the pits. Lisa has also bowed out of this lap. Had a bit of an unfortunate time, as other cars are struggling, it seems, to get things going. Looks like we had a couple of other racers who had, we'll say, a moment. Cook, one more go for him here. Not sure if he's going to be committing on this same rubber once again. Won't have enough time to go back into the pits if that is his plan. Through now. Nicely done through Murray's corner. Unfortunately, though, it's not going to be enough to take a new time to the boards. A couple of other drivers going to be making their way up now. Who is going to be getting a bit of a jump? Simon A's just gone through new fastest lap. It's completely snuck it under the noses of us all. Moffat doesn't get anything new. Simon's into the 2:03s. Seriously impressive running from him here. But in a parting shot, there is going to be another car that's going for it. Gilligan is setting himself up for a final push run. And many of the other drivers are now in a position where this lap is do or die. Bit of wobble coming through into Skyline from Sir over here. Final 10 seconds. Everyone has to finish their runs from this point on. No new commitments. Oh, big impact on the wall there. That is going to leave a mark. Certainly leaving a mark on the talent. So that is a bailout from Wisa after the incident that they just experienced. Bumping into that wall. Is Simon going to be going for yet another run as well? Yes, they are. They are committed to yet another go round the course. They're not just content with the 203.9. They want to get it even further and down the order. Oh no, or are they? They've bailed out, coming out of Forest Elbow. And looks like Gilligan is suffering a similar fate. He's going to be bailing out of the lap as well. And Murray, real trooper that he is, going to be continuing to push forward. What matters not here at GRDC is that you're necessarily the fastest, but you're the good sport, and you see it through to the end. And for that, Murray, get a special tip of the cap from me. Sees it through. Final lap now. Quality runs all the way. And quite a stiff competition, particularly around that top 5. 2 seconds split them, but that 2 seconds is going to be an indicator of the top drivers that we really need to be watching out for. Oh, big drop on the rear there. Not able to get it out of the wall in time. That's some serious damage on the front of Murray's car. And that is going to be the session over. In that case, I do understand why he bailed out of that one. So you can see, Ada's taken pole position for race 1, followed by Gilligan and Cook, making it second and third. Moffat is going to round out the second row, and then you have Weiser, Stuart Thompson, Finlayson, Poire, Murray, and Wallace right now. So quite a good run indeed, and some seriously impressive racing about to take place. Of course, let us know who you're looking forward to. And while we get everyone set up, rigged up, ready, it's going to be a very good race ahead of us. Let us know who you're looking forward to, and we'll be right back with you in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're just getting our drivers set up as we speak. Everyone, final confirmation before we head into race 1 good and proper. We're going to see some serious gains, and we're going to see some seriously impressive running. I'm looking forward to this. I certainly know that we are going to be having quite an exciting one, but let's see what's going on trackside as we have got the racers now prepping for a rolling start here in GRDC. Let's take it trackside. Let's see what they can do. The light is green and they're already off. Quality start from Aid. He's going to immediately assert his dominance in the early stages. We're seeing a bit of a fender bender already happening between some of the racers a bit further down. We're going to see some lights being smashed out. That's going to be Weiser and Thompson, both not running any lamps. And this is going to be maybe a little bit of a struggle for them. Looks like their cars are already pretty beat up. Not sure what happened in that race start for them. Maybe that's purely on our end, but oh, looks like there's going to be some contact as well. That's Sir and Thompson going into each other. And just as if things could not get any more dicey, that is them really just cherry on top, icing on top there. Meanwhile, we look to the front. We see Aid doing their best to get away from the pack. Gilligan is not going to let them go away so easily taking within half a second. Cook trying their best to chase down, but doesn't look like he's going to be having such luxury. He's in fact struggling to keep the reins on that car a little bit. We've seen that rear axle slip a couple of times at this point. Key things to be aware of. It is still going to be dark, and oh, that's a big side impact through Skyline. A little bit too deep there as you head into this sector of the course. Down through forests, you can open up the taps, but you cannot be overzealous with it. This track demands respect, and it will have you respect it so. I'll say you got Murray. It's tailing a little bit behind, but is it going to be pushing and pushing hard? Oh, you have a Wallace going to be leading a small queue of their own because you have Finlayson and Poirier just behind. Maybe a little bit of teeing up of a move from Gilligan at the top. It's only going to be around 9 laps. A pretty short race all in all. Which means the drivers need to make most of this. 2 races means 2 chances at points, folks. Oh, looks like we have got a car backwards. That's going to be Cook, and that's going to be Thompson as well. Completely buried in that gravel track, and they're just trying to limp that car into the pits. Doesn't really look like the car wants to cooperate and play ball. There you go, finally being able to wheel that car around. Not having a good time whatsoever. Weiser, meanwhile, despite having a pretty smashed up car, he is pushing forward and pushing some serious pace. I think the visual damage betrays the kind of speed that he's got on tap right now. We've got Wallace under a bit of pressure here, as Finlayson is hunting. Finlayson's going for it. And Wallace has started to make a couple of mistakes. Might be indicative of the pressure getting to him. The thing is, as they come out of Mafilamy Park, they have to set themselves up on the left side again as they go through into the downhill, tight, twisty section this track is so well known for. Can't be too quick on the back and forth on the steering combined with that throttle, or you are going to be really worrying about where that rear axle is going to go. We jump to the front. We see Gilligan still on the chase, but Aid has managed to get a bit of a breakaway. It's about 9/10 of a second. Although that being said, Aid has just had a massive off, has taken a bit too deep into the chase. And now Gilligan is going to be taking the top spot for the race here. Looks like things are going to take a bit of an interesting turn as that mistake has opened the door. The rest of the field has somewhat spaced out. It's taken a bit of their own room on the track. Finlayson still trying to chase Wallace down. We reached a stage in the track where the drivers are fairly undeterred. At this point, they can stretch their legs a little bit. They can start to effectively go into a bit of a hot lapping mode. Just what matters is getting that decent pace down lap to lap and ensuring that we don't see any drama, any major surprises. Although I have to admit, if I was Aid, I would be a little bit worried right now, because you had the position for dominance and you dropped the ball. Now there could be some serious points on the table here. He's currently sat on 110 points, but just 8 points here will catapult him all the way into P4. That's what he's got to keep his eye on. Even if Gilligan is in a different points bracket to him, with 71 between them, he can still make some serious gains for his personal championship. And that's really what matters. He is going to close a little bit of time. Not enough to be in a position to take a decisive attack, but enough to maybe put a little bit of a scare down on his opponent. Meanwhile, we do have Thompson back on the track now following their mini drama. Looks like that car is on the whole looking fairly compromised. We're seeing damage. Front, rear, the entire aero package is going to be suffering, and his driving is going to have to compensate for that. That's a serious worry. Oh, looks like we have had a spin. That is going to be from Simon again. So Simon's race has gone from bad to worse. A strong start now being defeated by a couple of mistakes. He's going to be all the way down in P7, barely hanging on, just ahead of, I believe that is going to be... Actually, no, that's Thompson. So, lapped car, but barely going to be keeping that position. That really strong quali is just not converted for him. And now, missing a key part of aero, his car is not going to cooperate. He's going to have to be a lot more gingerly with the throttle in order to keep it behaved. You can already see he's yielding right now to Thompson, despite technically being a back marker, because he knows that that car is going to be a liability. It's going to be a difficult beast to wrangle, and he doesn't want anyone caught in that crossfire. The sun rises over the horizon. A little bit of bumpiness here in Panorama. You can see a little bit of a pull to the left before maximizing your arc through into the chase. So running his own race, but running it with efficiency. Was he still going to be nursing that car through? So far, he's not going to be deterred by such circumstances as a bit of aero damage. The field is definitely going to be looking at where they can go from here, because everyone has spaced themselves out. He has headed himself into the pits. He's not going to be wasting any time in getting his car, at least to an extent, back in operating order. Wouldn't be surprised if his tyres are absolutely cooked from that ordeal. Back out on track. Unfortunately, still wingless. But he's back out there, no less. He's going to be joining the likes of Thompson. Now being down in P9. Meanwhile, you've got Danny Moffat, currently second place in the championship. 7.5 seconds from Gilligan. And has got himself a neat points packet if this goes to plan. Right now, our top three mirror their exact places in the championship. And we will be seeing, of course, a second race here. So there is another chance for drivers to redeem themselves and get themselves some points on the docket. But every opportunity counts, and just because you have race 2 doesn't mean you can fumble race 1. Everyone else is going to have just the same opportunity as you do. As we cross over that halfway mark now, things look very good. Gilligan They look very good indeed. 8 seconds clear of Moffat, who's making his own mistakes rather than being able to fully exercise his speed to catch up. And several seconds between each driver on this course. The closest really being about 2 seconds between Cook and Wallace. The field and the race is his to claim. He just needs to put down these next consistent 5 laps, and he'll bring it home. As long as he doesn't get too aggressive about it, doesn't overdrive the car, he'll be home free with some serious points in to race 1 of 2. If he plays this right, and he can get enough of a points gap on Moffat, it could be possible that Gilligan wraps the championship tonight. Of course, there's going to take a lot of points to be able to do that. But my, wouldn't that be something? If we see enough of a stand from Gilligan, perfect race, and Moffat falls, we might see enough to actually wrap this championship early. Although, extremely unlikely, it could technically be possible. If you want to crunch numbers. Of course, if you do want to do all the number crunching, feel free. You should be able to go and view our SimGrid page and keep a track of the standings. Or if not, you know where to find us on here, Discord, etc. Sure to give the stream a like, of course, if you know what you like what we do here and you want to see AMS as a medium get more love. Because there is plenty to love about this game. Plenty to love about this racing. And we're hoping that the 1.6 update is going to bring a lot of future opportunity as this game continues to evolve. Alright, meanwhile, chasing down a potential podium as we have lost Moffat in this whole ordeal. Moffat has taken a serious pace degradation. I believe he made a mistake in the last couple of corners. He's recovered well into P5, but that is going to seriously hurt his efforts. And like we were just talking about, and he currently, if he finishes where he currently stands, then he's going to be dropping 18 points to Gilligan. Repeat that once more. You're barely going to be in within the championship. Would take a lot to rein him back in. We are final 5 minutes rapidly approaching. And Porre is another driver who is rapidly approaching his target. Finlayson is in the crosshair. Chasing down all the way through the dipper. Takes an arrow line through Forest's elbow. Wall bump coming in from Finlayson. So they are struggling to keep that car reined in. That's all the signal that Porre needs. He's going to go for it. He's going to chase it down. He's going to hunt the spot. Looking through into the chase. Chooses to yield. Too risky, even if he would come through side by side. Heading into this left-hander, it's just too risky. This is not the appropriate forum for him to take that move. And I think he chose wisely. Although he isn't going to have much time to find another opportunity. At some point, he's going to have to make that judgment call. Should I stay or should I go? Should I go for P3 and make it a podium? Or am I content with the 4th? There's only going to be 4 points between them. That 4 points could mean the world. That really could mean the world to one of these drivers. And it's the difference between getting yourself on the map as a serious contender or walking away. Final 5 minutes well underway. A big takeaway here. Gilligan looks absolutely unstoppable. Look at the pace that he's lapping at. 205.9 versus the next closest being a 207.3 from Cook. Once you get damage on these cars, you can, of course, go in and repair them, but the damage is going to be beyond just the aero. It's also going to be to your confidence and your ability to push. You won't trust the car as much as you once did. .205.9 from Gilligan is certainly a strong sign that that gap is only growing, and it's only his to lose at this point. Coming on to the penultimate lap now, as we round through Murray's Corner. A little bit down, but still running even faster technically. The 205.768. Now, where is the pace of the rest of the field? I think the damage that some of them have accumulated is going to be the linchpin in all of this. Looks like he's got his wing back, so that was a visual error. And this could be a chance for him to at least put some pace down in the dying laps. He's not really going to have the time or opportunity to chase back down. We will have the chance to put a bit of pressure on and, through the fastest lap, tempt fate. Certainly through race 2 is going to be the test of the racers. But we also do have a second qualifying session, a second chance for drivers to prove their worth. Now they've got themselves thoroughly warmed up, will be the true test of mettle. In their ideal environment, acclimatized to the cars, acclimatized to Bathurst here. Low characteristics of grip and all with the early onset sunrise and the low temperatures of the track. How can these drivers really fare? How can they push? How can they do it? Look into the field. Luisa is 24 seconds behind. Finlayson 30. And then about a half a second away. Poirier continues to put down some serious pressure, trying for any opportunity they can to close that gap. And even running some of their best times in pursuit of that. Slightly further away than they were just a couple of laps ago. The leader officially crossing onto the final lap now. Time will be diminished. At the end of lap 10, we will have a race winner crowned in some form. Solid introductory start, solid race 1. Drivers are going to be raring to go for a second quali. Right, quick on the hunt, 7.4. That is a statement of pace and a statement of intent. A 204.9 from Gilligan as well is going to be immense pace. Almost nearing into his quali right now. There's some serious driving being put down on all fronts. You do see a couple of backmarker excursions as well. Thompson is on the back of Moffat. Time has officially elapsed, so whoever crosses this finish line next is going to be crowned the winner. Was provided they're on the same lap. You do have a backmarker in, I believe that is Liam Murray, who is technically going to cross the finish line first, although only one lighty. And whoa, big kick on the rear as they come out of the chase. Looks like they had a bit of lift off oversteer, was just not able to fully contain it. Making his way through though. And down into the chase himself is our race leader and undisputed winner of race 1. As we come up to the final corner, a solid result in the first half of tonight's proceedings. We have got ourselves Danny Gilligan. Seriously impressive. Lap 11. And a race completed. For the current championship leader, it's going to be music to ears. And for his championship efforts to be bolstered even more by Moffat dropping down to 5th, it's going to be a good day at the office for him. Lisa is coming in 2nd place. That beat up car, making it all the way to the end and proving that just because your car's taken a little bit of a hit does not mean by any stretch that you are down for the count. Finley, Sun and Poire are going to be coming to the end of the line, and with a solid performance themselves, is going to be 3rd and 4th for them. Moffat in 5th, Cook coming in 6th place with some also serious pace being on full display there, just lining up and then giving a little bit of a nudge just to say hi. A little bit of friendly bants and a little bit of friendly taps. Wallace is going to be coming through 7th place. Left headlight down, but racing spirit still very much intact. Liam Murray lapping once more here. As you have Aid and Thompson now having completed following the leader. Murray, last runner now. This is the power of just sticking with it. Because Murray, despite lapping last on a 224, has got it in 8th place. So he's got some happy points in the pocket. And he's going to certainly make good use of them. We will be going into race 2 and quali 2 in just a moment. But there you go. Final race finisher. Gilligan is going to take top honours. Just under 21 minutes raced. Only 204.45 second fastest lap. Some serious pace on tap, though not to be outdone. Simon Eade is going to be your fastest lap holder, although down in 9th. His race did not go his way. So we are going to be staying in the lobby just for a moment longer, and we're going to be getting ourselves ready for Quali 2. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere, because the second race and the proceedings for it, the setup for the race, is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going back to the track in just a moment, as we are now going to be setting up for qualifying 2. We've had a great first race. Race 2 is about to get underway, and we have got some serious running to be had. Let's hope that this race is going to be just as strong as this one. We're going to be watching on board with the drivers as they're getting themselves set up. You can see it's a little bit later in the day. It is still early sunrise time, but the sun has made itself present and given us a bit of daylight, which is always nice. We're going to see the racers, and we're going to see them in beautiful orange bathing light. The track is still going to be, of course, fairly cold, but this is still going to be a great qualifying and a great race. Now the drivers are acclimatized. They've gotten themselves a little bit of track time. They got their feet wet with the first race and the first quali. Now it's time to show what they can really do. Thompson is going to be leading this next queue and going to be the first one out for quali 2. Let's see what he can do. It's going to be a hardcore lap, and after that race, it's going to be a tough fought battle. See those front tyres looking quite cambered just to deal with the bumps and being able to stay gripped up as you head up those hills in some places. Got to have a little bit of camber on those wheels to make sure you maintain a stable contact patch. We are coming up to the line through Hell Corner first thing. Running it nice and narrow, trying to straighten up as soon as possible to be able to get back on that throttle, push all 600 ponies down to the road. You've also got 600 pound-feet of torque around, so this is going to be quite the beast to handle if you're not careful on the exits. Down the mountain, straight and up now the hill quarry. One of the longer right-handers of the course, and you've got to be careful with the car. Cut in, and then Griffins. You can hear how much he's having to balance the car on the precipice of grip as we are running on board with his bumper. Quick dive in, let your tyres grip up. Oh, a little bit of contact with that wall there, a bit too close for comfort, but remains committed regardless. Philby Park Skyline now, toughest section of the track. It's a downhill weave and a dance on the edge of grip. Just a tiny bit too much braking. Your weight's going to transfer to the front axle. It's going to suddenly lighten up your rears, and you're going to be finding yourself 180 degrees before you even know it. But nicely done from Thompson. Despite that early setback heading into Skyline, he handled it very well. And now down through the Conrod straight to take this lap home. Set the first official time on the boards. Wallace is going to be remaining in the pits. Seemingly not a qualifier. Wants to show it on the track and in the race, and that much I can respect. A little bit of a slide on coming from Thompson. Both sides. That's now into Murray's corner. Final litmus test of pace here for Thompson. It's 2:06, dead on. Seriously impressive run. Weeser is going to be coming through as well with 206.5. 7.9 is going to go Richard Cook. Simon Age just managed to blow that out of the water though with a 4.804. Seriously impressive runs there. What's previous race winner Daniel Gilligan going to do? Spore is going to cross that line. Is there going to be a usurping of the time? It's only a 5.687. So Aid is going to hold that by almost a second's worth of time. We have Moffat, who's also going to displace directly between the two of 5.235. It's going to be enough for the second spot, and is going to be lining up alongside Eden on that front row. Finlayson, third place last time out, and this time in quali is not going to be having a time on the boards just yet. Slightly out of sync from the field, with Liam Murray is going to be clocking in on a 2:20. A little bit slower than race 1. But the session is still young. We're going to have at least 2 more runs coming out of most of these drivers. So there's still plenty of time to make it work. I'm going to stick on board with Finlayson. Looks like they are going to be a car to watch for the minute. We'll check in on the rest of the field as well as they come to cross the line. Just look at the way he manages to balance that car. He doesn't let it slip too much. There's a little bit of slip angle that he can tolerate. But it's not going to deter him from keeping that power pressed. Keeping him chasing down those elusive times. Even getting a little bit airborne in places. Bit of risky driving, but one that I certainly approve. As he's pushing those limits, no doubt. We say is going to be the next driver to cross the line, put something down on the timings, and then he can choose whether he wants to commit for another lap after that or go into the pits and maybe take a little bit of a risk. It's going to be a 6.1 for the green and yellow Super, or Super V8, and it is going to be a bit of a tough act to follow for some. You pit lane excursions, Thompson and Cook both going to be coming in. Finlayson is going to be shortly crossing the field and crossing the line, but a 4.379 from Gilligan is going to be on new fastest. Seriously impressive run there. Winner of race 1 by a substantial margin, knows he has the pace, and now is going to be taking that pace to quali as well. Simon's the only one who can really stand in his way in P2 right now, but plenty more in the tank to give. Especially if their race 1 is going to be turned around. Maybe a solid race 2 will revive this race weekend for him. 6.3 is a good one for Finlayson. That's the kind of time he needs in the pocket. Right middle of the road. Looks like we've already got Aid chasing that time. And he's barely hanging that car on. You can see kicking the rear. He's dragging that car, kicking and screaming all the way through this lap. Full 110% commitment. This man leaves nothing to chance right now. Through Skyline, S's, Dipper, Forest Elbow coming up. He's dancing that car across that tarmac. I'd see ice skaters get a little bit jealous here. Could we see another point, a 203? On the books here, he just needs to finalise it through the Chase and Murrays. Serious impress factor coming from this lap. Full commitment. You can hear how that engine is screaming. Like a wild animal to be tamed, this car. You see a couple more racers are going to push through. Weiser is going to be taking a spot ahead of Moffat and onto that second row. Third place, is Ed going to be making it work? Yes, he is. It's a 0.940. And once again, proving a dominant force here in qualifying. Being so far the only driver to get into the 203s. He got into 203 last time and was unable to be dethroned by some of our top line competitors. That being said though, Gilligan's coming up through the final corner. Is this going to be the one? Is this going to be the one for him? He does cross the line, but not to set a lap, but to start one it seems. A couple more racers now making their way across the line. Ray Finlayson is going into the pits following a 6.362 being set. This could be a bit of a redemption arc here for Moffat. 5th in the last race. Otherwise a driver we know to have some speed. Qualifying has officially completed, so everyone in the pit is done. Everyone who has yet to set a time like Wallace, for instance, or is abandoning their laps, this is it for them. Liam Murray, no improvement. But is going to be in a 213, so a much better place than we last checked in on him. Full commitment through into the chase now. And even a bit of slide on the exit. preventing that fishtail, but keeping the speed high. Final corner now. And gunning it up to the line. It's not going to be enough. Moffat's only going to be staying at a 5.235. Lisa's going to be coming up 0.544. And there is no recourse for many others. Simon Eade is going to be on the hunt and is going to be going even faster. It's only 28 milliseconds, but that is statement enough to this field. But Cook's going to be coming up to the line as well. But no dice, unfortunately. This does leave Gilligan last out on this course. Is there going to be an improvement from the black and orange? Oh, big slide on the rear. No such improvement. Just the last corner fails to connect it together. What looked like a solid lap. And now a quali 2 being completed. That is going to be your final stack. And once again, he takes the top honours. Gilligan is going to be in a close second with Weiser, Richard Cook, Moffat, Thompson, Finlayson, Poire, Liam Murray, and then Wallace with no time being set. It's going to be an interesting one for sure. And as always, folks, minor setup and prep before we get into race 2 proper. Such an impressive run. And we are going to be seeing the final race about to come to fruition. So once again, don't go anywhere, because we are going to be seeing in just a moment, in fact, slightly quicker than we maybe expected, we're going to see the drivers get ready to go. It's still sunrise, so it's still cold. In fact, you can see some of that morning mist permeating the track. Means those tyres are going to take a little bit of extra work to get themselves into that ideal operating window. Unless you light up the rears, of course, coming through a couple of corners. We can see has sometimes worked as a potential strategy. So anything's really on the table. As long as you can keep that car dialed in, we are going to see some impressive running out here tonight. So for the final time here at Bathurst, let's see how these racers fare. It's going to be a solid race here. 20 minutes once again. And immediately, we're going to see a bit of deja vu coming through as we have Aid trying to go for that early gap. Weiser is going to be having none of it, though. He's in fact going to be going for the overtake on Gilligan right now. Richard Cook's not going to sit idly by. He's in fact going to take a bit of an excursion onto the grass in the pursuit of that spot. The position is very much up for grabs, but that is going to see some drivers really baring the teeth. Moffat is going to be trying to push himself up into 4th place, just about peaking alongside. Wallace is going to be getting himself up into P9 as well. A little bit of a wobble coming from these top two. The 3rd, 4th, 5th, all in very close proximity. We say about a second adrift of Gilligan, and Simon is going to be about a second and a half further than that. Moffat is a hungry driver right now. He's looking for those spots, looking for those points. He does not want his championship rival to get any further ahead than he already has done so from race 1. 18 points he's dropped effectively in the gaps between himself and Gilligan. 1st to 5th. Which is going to leave him 28 points out of pocket. Every point gained is a position that Gilligan has to lose in the final race if he wants this to happen. A mad dash all the way down. Weiser is going to be drag racing with Simon all the way into the chase. It's double wide. Who is going to be the one to yield? Looks like Eade is going to be the one who takes it a little bit safer. Bit of contact between Gilligan and Cook there, as Moffat is going to be getting very close to the fray. Big chase, big moves, a little bit of squirreliness under the brakes. Moffat is going to be chasing and going for it. Both of them make contact, both into the grass. Cook barely recovering his car into 6th. as they do not make it cleanly out of Murray's. Moffat now have got a new opponent in the form of Thompson, who has profited off of these shenanigans quite nicely. Back of the grid, also having its fair share of battles. Poirier and Murray are, going to be taking a bit of a position drop down. But Wallace is going to be drag racing him side by side, as is Cook and Finlayson. The teeth are well and truly being bared all the way around, as this field is not going to be yielding an inch. On board with Gilligan. And see just how he's trying to keep an eye on these two. Make sure that they stay out of trouble, and that he's there to pick up the spoils of these fights. All of this scrapping, Christmas waiting to happen for him. Gilligan getting ever closer through this second sector, and then the final shot down the hill. Good exit here means you're going to be able to get on that power. Doesn't look like the best exit in the world, but he's going to be able to watch on as it is once again on the hunt. Well, Simon's got a bit of a different modus operandi heading into this race too. He had such a good run last time, but a couple of big fumbles put him all the way down the order. So this is not just a race for points, this is a race for redemption. He wants to right the wrong of that first excursion, really prove his mettle on that race course. Seeing a couple of trades as well a bit further down, as Finlayson is going to go for it, and really go for it is the word there. Firing it down on the apex. Finlayson in the end not getting the exit speed from such a narrow line, really compromising himself there. Well, Simon is starting to run out of patience. You can see he's peeking left and right. He is going to be going for an overtake, potentially into the cutting. He peeks alongside. That's going to be Gilligan putting his way through onto the apex. Respect being shown, but not enough pace for the black and orange to get himself thoroughly into this fight. They keep the car behaved. That is the secret to success here. We sirs that may be feeling a little bit of that pressure right now. Simon, Gilligan, both harsh and on the hunt. I'd certainly be a little nervous if I was in the lead right now. Who wouldn't be? See just how desperate Simon is, and a bit too much as he's going to be swinging himself onto the grass. Coming down through into the Conrod straight now, just at the exit of Elbow. Takes a bit too much to one side. He isn't able to peel it back into the asphalt. That's going to give an opportunity not only for Gilligan, but for Moffat, as he's going to be taking an easy P3 off of that. But now the fight is on. Gilligan has the race pace. We've seen it lap and lap before. He's going to be peeling to the outside, looking for a chance. And looks like Moffat was getting a bit optimistic as well on the inside. No such opportunities being afforded here from the Gilligan. And even a little bit of a tail snap. Avoids fishtailing too much. Of course, got to be careful. You drop that rear a little bit too much, you enter that point of no return. Your race is as good as over. So Poirier's had quite an immense recovery from being down at one point at P9. They're currently sat at P6. And they have got Plenty of work to do still. About a second and a half to catch up to Cook, but my, what an early performance. We're not even 10 minutes in and already all of this is kicked off, folks. From the perspective of Cook right now, maybe looking a little impatient. Simon has made a position drop from a high early start. And the rest of the field is looking to capitalise on that inconsistency. I think that's the big thing here above all else. Simon has the pace. Tonight, that is definitely not being called into question. And even last time, in the DPIs, he won it. So he has got the pace on tap for sure. Problem. It's seemingly the consistency. Not able to consistently pull that pace in lap after lap after lap. Quali, he's fine. He's got no pressure. He's effectively got the race space and the track to himself. But when it comes to a race situation, he seems to struggle to keep that pace going. He was able to link it up and minimize these mistakes. I'm sure he'd be having a much better time right now, and he'd have much better things to say about his race experience. We make our way through, and it looks like the top of the field has started to stabilize a little bit. Further down, you are seeing more substantial gaps being pulled by the racers. Anywhere from 0.8 of a second all the way to multiple seconds plus. E9 and 10, a little bit out of the equation with Thompson and Murray, 27 and 52 seconds respectively. So eyes remain near the top of the field. And watching on as a bit of a gap starts to open up between Moffat and Gilligan. So a couple of interesting exits, shall we say, from some of these corners. From all of the top three, really, is what's keeping them simultaneously in check. Also, under a bit of pressure to push even harder and get a bit dangerous. The top five is all condensed within a second, folks. This is going to be some absolutely insane racing in the final 10 minutes. You don't see this kind of proximity really anywhere else, and we're going to see that come to full fruition as this is going to be Gilligan firing it around the outside through the chase. Too much on the grass though. He's round. He's into the race surface. He's barely avoided another car he almost took out. I believe that was going to be a very, very annoyed Moffat. That's what happened. Doesn't mean the battle at the top is done yet. Simon Eade is going to be around the outside. Moffat and we say is going to be side by side into corner one. Simon taking the switchback on his opponent there, and they are going to be jostling a little bit, even making a little bit of contact as they push each other to their racing limit. So it's not going to take that one lightly. Goes for a bit of a late defensive move, but an easy switchback target for Simon, as he's now going to be side by side with Moffat. He's going to be taking his place. Though a bit of a snap through the cutting is going to make his endeavours a bit more difficult. Half a second now between the two. Cook waiting in the wings, already putting on some serious pressure, compromising some of his racing lines and corners. Contact with the wall. That is a far from an ideal situation. Already a second being broken. Now the Moffat has some clean air. 8 minutes to go. 12 have passed. And the final points for this race hang in the balance. Where will he go? Where will Ede go? Remember, this is a race for him to really get some major movements. It looks like we have, unfortunately, lost a driver in all of this. It looks like Wisa is going to be going for a big excursion off into the grass, sliding all four wheels. Going to be dropping thoroughly down the order, barely getting that car spun round. Gilligan might have a chance to take P7 off of Wisa here. They move in around a little bit under the brakes, but a big attack is going to turn nearly into a big moment. Gilligan barely able to peel it out as the two make contact and briefly lock horns along with axles. Now Simon up at the front, within a second of Moffat, hunting for his prey, and he knows while he has got the pace, could very easily drop again through an easy mistake. He's managed to shake Cook off. In terms of pressure, it's a lot easier looking now. But I wouldn't hedge bets just yet. I wouldn't be optimistic about sudden gains. He just needs to get the next 2 laps consistently under his belt, and that is going to be what pushes him to take the top spot. So I'd be feeling a little bit on the ropes if I was him right now. Doesn't look like this is going to deter him, as he's starting to get quite the breakaway from his opponents. Gilligan, meanwhile, trying to close that gap. He's got about a second away from Wisa. But with his current time gains, he's only projected to get a P5 at best. He's simply not going to be able to catch up to leaders. So this is Moffat and Eade's time. Yeah, Eade could make this quite a race too. Like we were saying earlier, that redemption arc. Got the power and the wherewithal. Does he have that same level of skill and finesse to make it stick? It's one thing to have the pace on tap for a move. It's another thing to get it done. But can you hold the move? And you make sure that that position is your position to stay. That is your challenge. We've got 2 top racers. Wisa and Gilligan continuing to trade blows as we head up through into the cutting now. Close proximity, fighting hard. Just taking a moment to observe and almost reflect on the season that we've had. We've got, of course, the final round in just a couple of weeks' time. We do know that it's going to be in Le Mans. And in terms of the race car, well, you'll have to find out in about 5 minutes, won't you? We're now down to 8 racers. Unfortunately, we have lost another, so only 8 cars reside over this field. Things have gone and a little bit of a different direction. Tough to say really what's happened, as I've got a sneaking suspicion the racers are trying their best to put the pedal to the metal, and it's just not hooking up. It's just not clear. Pore is under a bit of attack as Gilligan is hunting, and a poor exit is going to leave Pore in the dust. Both to Wisa and to Gilligan now in 5th. Don't think he's got enough time to make up further, but a valiant racing effort is quite appreciated. Does always make things interesting, make things exciting for us. Half a second stands between Moffat and Aid. Aid knows if he wants to get this move done, there is only really one time to do it, and it's right now. He's closing in ever faster. They're racing Fairy Tale, although he chooses to yield. Doesn't want to go for it here. Interesting choice. Looking for that Fairy Tale finish, that happily ever faster, that final lap overtake to take it all home. Maybe wary of the fact that Moffat would just try and go for it on him on the final lap of the Murray corner. Of course, you can make a bit of an attack through the chase, having taken a bit more speed through Conrad. It's that last corner where there are chances for a late lunge if you are looking hard enough. Field is eager for some action, and we do have to say it's unfortunate that we lost Thompson and Wallace in the racing out on the track. If they are in a position where maybe just simply was not viable to continue under the current conditions. Aid is struggling to get that proximity up. Moffat is getting away. I think Aid maybe bit off a bit more that he could chew by allowing that position to stand. Would have had a solid position from the defense. Needs really a perfect exit out of here. Don't know if he's got what he needs. Gonna chase, try as he might. I think we have Moffat currently up ahead. Looking undeterred. And looking like an absolute on-track weapon. We round out the final couple of corners. A little bit of a slide on the exit. A bit further than he maybe wished for. But coming around the final corner now. Let's see. Moffat comes through. Out of Murray's. Crossing that line. An impressive run here from the purple V8. And now Simon Aid is going to be taking a bit of a healthier points dosage with second place. I'd say that is race redeemed for sure. Gilligan's going to manage to get it into 5th, or 4th, sorry. My mistake there, as we do see a bit of shuffling around. Wisa and Cook going to be taking 5th and 6th respectively. Pore is going to be all the way down in P7, and then Liam Murray is further down by a lap. Looking like he's missing a bonnet. The ITBs are fully exposed on that engine. There you go. That is race done, ladies and gentlemen. What a race it was. Seriously impressed with everyone out there tonight. Quality racing and absolutely brilliant stuff. Now we have got 8 drivers who have crossed that line. Moffat and Aid are certainly going to be proud of their performances. Gilligan is going to be alongside Finlayson, and we will be seeing him come through in just a moment, in fact, to have a chat, because he's managed to get P3 on both races on the trot. Of course, see where things go in our discussions, but seriously, impressive driving from all racers, all 10 who joined us for this evening. I want to say, before we get a chance to talk to Finlayson, it has been immense in terms of ability to race, ability to drive, and we will be seeing a certain driver now be joining us. So, joining in the box now. I'm going to be saying hi to Mr. Finlayson. First off, you got double P3, mate. Seriously impressive. How you feeling?
No, very pleased with that. Yeah, very pleased with that, because first podiums I've had in this series and first podiums I've had with GRDC this year. Normally expect to be 7th, 8th, 9th or lower. So podiums were very, very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I mean, how are you feeling going into this weekend? It's the V8 Supers, it's 600 horsepower, it's not your average everyday racer, a little bit visceral. So how are you feeling in terms of handling these cars?
Trepidation, I suppose. It's certainly a handful. I haven't driven them before, but I had a little practice last week, and straight away I thought, my goodness, it's a bit of a beast. And on Bathurst, you're just expecting to crash out at any minute. You're basically hanging on for grim death, aren't you?
Yeah.
But no, pleasantly surprised to get through 2 races pretty much unscathed, and I'm always happy to take advantage of other people's misfortunes.
Yeah, and I think that really was kind of the story of the day. It's that a lot of drivers, be that through pushing or just through mistakes, a lot of drivers were dropping positions and left and right. But you seem to sort of keep your nose down, keep your race clean and out of trouble. I think that was a solid strategy all the way through.
Yeah, just try and remain consistent, but you never know what's going to happen around the next corner. In the first race, I got distracted, started chatting away, and lost 3 seconds over a couple of laps, and that let Aero catch up to me, which made the last few laps quite interesting. He was pressuring me all the way, but no, it was good fun.
Yeah, and it looked like a lot of fun, even if, as you say, sometimes you were hanging on for dear life, so to speak. And
yeah, well, those cars just feel like they're going to either let go or you're going to let go of them at any minute, so you've got to concentrate all the time.
Yeah,
particularly coming from the rest of the week, sort of driving Genettas and Caterhams and Minis is quite a change.
Yeah, and when you've got the season in retrospect, how have you felt about just the season as a whole?
Invitational it's really good. The fact is, Invitational means that all the drivers are of a good standard and pretty clean races. So it's been good fun, particularly progressing up through the different power levels of the cars. I have no idea what's coming up on the list, but they were pretty powerful tonight.
Yeah, well, I have to check back on the stream in a couple of minutes after we're done here, because we're going to be revealing it live in just a moment.
Okay.
But I've got to say, before we do that, absolutely immense out there. So consistency definitely playing in your favour out there tonight, and a seriously impressive run on the whole. So hopefully we'll see how things go in the final round, but wanted to commend you on your performance tonight in particular, mate.
Yeah, thanks very much. The podium in the second race was due to Richard's unfortunate. Although something happened to him on the last lap, so I took advantage of that. I was well back in 4th, but there we go.
Well, regardless, it's an opportunity. You seize it and you make it work, and that is really the crux of it. So maybe we'll see you in the podium spots next time out, but congratulations again, mate. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. So that was a chance to talk to Ray Finlayson. 2 P3s, seriously impressive running, and with that, we reveal our final car. Now, you already know it is Le Mans. We revealed that on our sim grid, and we revealed that as such for the rest of the racers, but we do not know what cars they're going to be until now. our car of choice is going to be a Group C legend. This is the Nissan R89C Group race car. It's going to be quite a wild experience. We are talking about a 900 horsepower, 600 pound-feet of torque monster. There is really no other way to describe it. This thing is going to be quite a handful. And I, for one, am seriously excited for how these drivers are going to take this car and make it their own. In a way, we've gone back in time and we've looped back to where we started. We started with sort of fairly old cars that were a little bit throwable and a bit difficult to control. And now we have ourselves at the very end, all the way to Le Mans, a Group C legend from 1989. It's going to be a seriously impressive race and a seriously impressive fight at the top. But thank you, as always, to everyone who raced, everyone who's joined us in the chat, and everyone who has continued to support us here at GRDC. Whether that is just liking the stream, popping your head in, or being involved at much deeper level, getting involved with our Discord server, and watching along with the racing in real time. We always love to have you. Always be a pleasure to continue to put these events on into the future. But for now, this is where we sign ourselves off. So we will see you in 2 weeks' time for the final round of the Invitational. And my name has been Ben Sapsford, now signing off. Take care to all. Have a good night.